Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Harrison.
And I'm Heidi Messerley.
We worked alongside each other to create this presentation on nutrient management plans for a 7th grade audience.
So, what are nutrient management plans? Nutrient management plans are a tool farmers have to minimize their impact on the environment. They manage the amount, placement, and timing of plant and soil nutrients. The purpose of nutrient management planning is to maintain the condition of the soil, protect air quality, properly utilize manure, prevent runoff, and to budget and conserve nutrients for plant production.
There are a lot of benefits of following a nutrient management plan. Effectively utilizing a nutrient management plan presents farmers with a lot of benefits. When farmers follow a nutrient management plan, it gives them a better understanding of soil nutrient levels, nutrients needed to produce crops, when and where to apply nutrients, and what areas need additional nutrients.
There are multiple components of a nutrient management plan. There are 6 listed here. These components are soil productivity, soil fertility, manure and biosolids application, crop rotation, fertilizer application, and management practices. Each component is equally important to get the optimal benefits out of a nutrient management plan. We will discuss each of these individually as we move through the slides.
The first, the first component is soil productivity. Soil productivity is where soils vary widely in their limitations to support yield. The USDA has mapped all of the soils in the United States for their soil productivity. There are different codes labeled to identify the different productivity groups. Soils are classified into 5 productivity groups, one being the most productive soil for a particular crop and 5 being the least productive. Keep in mind that each crop requires different productivity. I attached a chart on the lecture slide that shows the different productivity categories and the inherent capacity it has to produce each crop.
The second component that we're going to discuss is soil fertility. The nutrient level of the soil is determined by testing the soil every 3 years. This will analyze the soil for phosphorus and potassium to determine the soil fertility. To meet the nutrient needs of your crops, the soil will need to be fertilized. The nutrient needs of the crops vary depending on the crop and the yield. The yield is estimated by soil productivity or farm records. 3 ways are most commonly used to apply commercial fertilizer to your crops: broadcast, band, and side dress. Broadcast spreads fertilizer across the field before planting your crops. Banding is more precise as it is an application of a thin band of fertilizer next to the seed. And side dressing is done partway through the season and applied very close to the base of the plants.
The next component that we'll discuss is manure application. Manure can be a valuable resource for farmers when used wisely. Manure is the first source of nutrients that farmers typically apply to their crops. Like soil fertility, manure can be sampled and analyzed to determine what is in it. Once the results of the nutrients analysis are back, the farmer can compare the results with his nutrient management plan to determine how much manure is applied. The turnaround time for the result is at least 3 days, so the farmer will use last year's analysis to determine the amount. This year's results will be used for the following year, and so forth. In the near future, we hope to be able to use real-time analysis. Until then, this is the system that works best. The nutrient content can vary between farms, so it is important to do a nutrient analysis. The factors that affect this are the animal's diet and storage. What goes into the animal influences what comes out of the animal. Diets that are high in phosphorus have a negative effect on the environment. The extra phosphorus is excreted through the manure of the animal, so this will make the manure content high in phosphorus. If the manure content is high in phosphorus, we will apply too much, which is what causes the unintentional negative effect on the environment. The farmer should work closely with a nutritionist to make sure that the animal is receiving the proper amount of nutrients. Storage of manure is important. Some types of manure storage could lead to more nutrient losses compared to others. The analysis is typically done after storage because the content will change from when it comes out of the animal to when it is ready for application. Also note that before application onto the land, it is important for the farmer to agitate the manure in the storage pit before applying to the land to make sure that all of the solids are out.
The fourth component we are going to discuss is manure spreader calibration. A manure spreader is used to disperse livestock manure amongst large crop fields. If a manure spreader is left uncalibrated, the manure, or the fertilizer in this situation, will be applied unequally, creating spots of lesser fertilization and spots of over-fertilization. The pattern that the manure is applied to fields is crucial to ensure equal coverage and fewer spots of heavy nutrient runoff, which leads to pollution and eventually eutrophication. Manure spreaders are typically calibrated on a per acre basis with the use of a tarpaulin. One will drive the tractor and spreader in the same gear while calibrating, which they will eventually drive the tractor and spreader in while spreading.
Next is crop rotation. Crop rotation is essential in modern agriculture. What is crop rotation, you may ask? Crop rotation is the act of planting different crops on the same plot of land throughout different planting seasons. This improves soil health by balancing soil nutrients. For example, a farmer may plant soybeans after harvesting his corn crop since corn consumes a lot of the soil's nitrogen. If crop rotation is not used and the same crop is planted on the same plot of land numerous years in a row, that crop will continuously take the same nutrients out of the soil. This would result in a plot of land that is very nutrient deficient in one specific nutrient, typically being nitrogen.
The next component is fertilizer application. Applying fertilizer to crop fields is essential in maintaining proper soil health. Once a cash crop has been harvested, it typically leaves the soil barren of nutrients, especially nitrogen. For example, corn is known for depleting the soil of nitrogen, which is the main driving factor as to why many farmers plant a cover crop. While cover crops do help, oftentimes the soil needs an extra boost, which is what a fertilizer is for. Proper fertilization of a crop field will promote crop growth and maximize economic yield.
The final component that we will discuss is management decisions. When management within a company is tasked with making decisions, they need to be able to answer the following questions. Where should it be applied? When should it be applied? How should it be applied? When determining where fertilizer should be applied, it is always best to avoid slopes if possible to help avoid an easy opportunity for runoff. Determining when to apply fertilizers, it is best to follow a manure spread with the planting of a cover crop to help root in the fertilizer. Once again, preventing runoff. Finally, how to apply fertilizer is heavily determined by the type of crop and type of equipment one owns. It is best to only apply fertilizer as needed to help combat over-fertilization, runoff, environmental pollution, and eutrophication.
So, the takeaway we hope you gain from this presentation is that nutrient management plans, often abbreviated as NMPs, are important and beneficial for farmers to help minimize their impact on the environment. Being sustainable includes not only maximizing the profit of farm products, in this case crops, but also being environmentally friendly. Overall, nutrient management plans are a helpful tool for farmers and agriculturists to properly fertilize fields while also protecting the environment.